One of the things that buyers are always curious about is what happens after the home inspection is complete. How are you going to negotiate the repairs? Well, there's a lot of different options available to you, and one of them is actually getting a credit for the seller. But how does that seller credit work? Let's take a look. My name is Andrew Finney, and my passion is helping you make sense of real estate. If you need help finding a top agent near you, or if you simply want to drop me a line to say hello, my contact info is below. If you're new here, please go ahead and subscribe to this channel now and like this video. Thank you. All right, my friend, let's take a closer look at exactly what is a seller's credit in lieu of repairs. Just as the name suggests, when you're talking about a seller credit in lieu of repairs, it means that the seller is willing to open their wallet and give you some money for you to say, hey, you know what? I'll take the money, the cash, as opposed to doing the repairs. There's different pros and cons and different trade-offs to this. So let's take a closer look at each of them so that you can make a well-informed decision during your home inspection negotiations. The first thing is negotiating repairs after the home inspection. Right after your home inspection is completed, generally within 24 to 48 hours, your home inspector is going to provide to you and to your trusted real estate advisor the actual home inspection report. It's going to be a PDF report with all the notations that the home inspectors made in their opinion of what's going on with that property's current condition. It is important to know that a home inspection is not a pass or fail grade. All it is an observation by the home inspector making it clear what they believe is going on with that property. Now, some properties they inspect extremely well and they look really good because they've been cared for and well maintained. Other properties, that inspection report could get pretty long and it might seem a little terrifying. All the same, just take a deep breath to reassess and approach your home inspection report with clarity. The second thing is exactly what are you going to do when you negotiate these repairs. Get with your trusted real estate advisor, review the home inspection report, see what their professional suggestions are about what probably should be requested, and balance it in line with what you also would like to see corrected. Keep in mind that most of the time with cosmetic things in nature, those aren't exactly things that you want to make a request for. You would want to make a request for something if the HVAC system wasn't working appropriately, or if there was a notation about a roof leak, or if there was some plumbing problems. You want to bring those concerns and put them in writing, known as a buyer's repair request. This is the opportunity to make your request, but by the very nature of that word, it means that we're asking the seller to make these repairs, and the seller doesn't necessarily have to make any of them, but most sellers will keep an open mind to reasonable home inspection repair requests. So when we're talking about reasonable requests, let's say that the home inspector brought up a concern about the air conditioning system. Let's say that it was outside of the 18 to 22 degree differential that it should be operating within. The home inspector said, hey, they need to bring out an HVAC technician to have that service. Let's say that's one thing that's on that list that you want to make a request for. Let's say the second one might be some moisture staining noted underneath the eaves on one side of the house. Well, that might be something else that you want to get cleared up, because a home inspector is likely to say, hey, suggestion here is to call in a roofing inspector or a roofing company to further assess this and give you an idea of how much it's going to cost to make this repair. Now, let's say the third one had to do with the water heater. Let's say that it's on its last leg and you might want to ask for it to be replaced. Well, if you put those three things into your buyer's repair request, your trusted real estate advisor is going to have you sign that. Then they're going to send your buyer's repair request along with your home inspection report to the listing agent. When that happens, then the listing agent is going to review your request with the seller. That'll take us to the seller options. Now, the seller will have the option to say, yes, I will fix everything on this list, or hey, I'll go ahead and address the air conditioning matter. I'll address the roofing issue, but I'm not going to do anything with the water heater because it's still working. Okay, that's pretty reasonable. We can work with this. One of the things that they could do is say, hey, you know what? We're in the process of moving out and we would really like to be able to sell this home and move forward with you to the next step. All the same, you know, here's the deal. We don't really have the time to call in the various services or the various contractors. Would you be open-minded to accepting a credit in lieu of the repairs? If you accept the credit in lieu of the repairs, it's coming in the form as money to you, right? So since you can't receive cash for repairs per se, what they would do is they say seller agrees to contribute X number of dollars towards buyer's closing costs in lieu of making the repairs. And this would actually be on the form that is being used for the negotiations of the home inspection. Then what would take place is an addendum would be drafted that simply reads that the seller agrees to contribute X number of dollars towards the buyer's closing costs. Now, right there, you might be wondering, hang on, Andrew, if I'm getting a credit in lieu of repairs, why isn't the money coming directly to me, or why isn't it just simply stay that, right? Well, it's a good question. So the reason that the addendum is needed to get you the credit from the seller, and the reason it's being applied towards your buyer closing costs, is because if the lender knows that their credit is being provided because of the repairs, the appraiser, the lender, they themselves may get a little bit nervous and say, well, why are you receiving money for this? We don't like this idea. But there's nothing to preclude a seller from making the contribution towards your buyer closing costs or simply dropping down the price of the home. Now, in practice, I see this go down all the time in Las Vegas, Nevada. One of the best things that you could do as a buyer in this situation, if the seller doesn't want to make the repairs, is to simply accept the credit to ensure that that credit is on par with the realistic cost of what it's probably going to take to bring the home up to snuff. Now, this provides a couple of different pros and one con I want to share with you. One of the pros obviously is it's going to reduce the amount of money that you need at the end of the day to close on your new home. So let's say that the seller agreed to give you a $3,000 credit, and let's say that you are buying a $400,000 home. Well, we know that buyer closing costs are generally about 3% of a sales price. So that means that your buyer closing cost would be $12,000. Well, if the seller is agreeing now to contribute up to $3,000 towards your buyer closing costs as a result of your negotiations from the home inspection, that reduces the total amount of money that you're going to need to bring in for your buyer closing costs by $3,000. $12,000 less $3,000 means $9,000 that you would be on the hook for. So you see, the money is extremely real, even though it's on paper at the moment. It's going to reduce that amount that you got to come in with. The second pro to keep in mind is it gives you, the home buyer, the opportunity to hire your own contractors to make sure the work was done exactly the way that you would like to see it get done. With your contractors, with your professionals, with your oversight, all of those repairs can be made. That's another one of the big pros to this. With every pro, there is always a con. A con to consider here is that while it's going to reduce the overall amount of money that you're going to need to close on your new home, who's on the hook to make these repairs? You are. Now, once you close on this home, is there going to be like an inspector that comes back out to make sure that you did those repairs? No, there won't be an inspector that comes back out again after you close on your new home. It's going to be upon you as a homeowner at that point to choose to make those repairs or not. Now, it is my strongest advice and my strongest counsel to you that if you have home maintenance items that need to be addressed, please use that money to make those repairs once you move in. It'll safeguard you into home ownership and ensure that your home is well maintained from the very beginning. If you leave certain things unaddressed, they can become much more problematic and much more expensive to correct. Now, notice that in our example earlier, we were talking about maybe there's moisture staining underneath the eave of a roof. Well, what happens if that's because the underlayment underneath the tile or underneath the roof type of the home that you purchased has deteriorated? Well, if it's been deteriorated and you leave it unattended without making that repair, what could happen then is the plyboard underneath the actual roof, underneath that actual eave where you see that moisture staining, could end up rotting. And if it rots, it causes a bigger issue that's going to be more expensive to address than had you just addressed it up front. So that's one of the biggest cons, is that these repairs aren't being made in the closing process, and it's incumbent upon you to see it through and get it done the way that you see fit. Okay, so now that you know more about what a seller credit in lieu of repairs is, let's take a closer look at negotiating repairs after a home inspection and the common repairs a seller must make after a home inspection. Looking forward to our next conversation. We'll see you in a few.